Oh my goodness. I hope my teeth don't have chocolate in it. I just killed a bunch of chocolate. Now I'm good. Okay, that would have been so embarrassing. I love dark chocolate. Just a heads up for you guys, it's one of my biggest weaknesses. My girlfriend cannot stand it. She doesn't like anything bitter, so no coffee ever. Even if it's really sweetened coffee, she doesn't like it. Dark chocolate's out of the picture. Anything else that's mildly bitter, not gonna happen for her. But I love that type of stuff, and it also tends to be healthier for you too. Bitter tends to be healthier than sweeter. Okay. With that statement and disclaimer of my teeth being covered in chocolate out of the way, let's get into this. When putting this course together, I knew one of the things that was going to hold a lot of people back was this idea of not being creative enough, or not being original enough, or not having something special or unique that's going to allow them to become a celebrity in their market and charge the amount of money they want to charge. And I figured I'd tell you some of the ways that I've learned to be considered one of the most creative minds in magic. Not that I'm at all sitting near the greats, but I just mean in terms of social media and marketing, but also creating magic for TV shows and consulting. I pride myself in my creativity, and people tend to hold me on a high pedestal when it comes to this topic. And that's because I've worked for several magicians, like Jackie Yu behind the scenes briefly. Julius Dean, worked with him for a while. He is the most viewed person on Facebook. Man, talk about having to confront your beliefs about creativity. Man, I was going to make content that was going to be seen by 2.1 billion people a month, the most viewed person on Facebook ever in history. Helped work with 2 documentaries behind the scenes at Netflix, Slightly, also another one on Vice. I was a writer for Big Trick Energy on True TV. The Walking Dead Worlds Beyond, I was a technical director for that for 2 months. I also was a producer and director for Beyond the Magic on Amazon Prime, which is a 35-episode docuseries about my life. I've worked behind the scenes for shows like Penn and Teller Fool Us, developing content for that, and helping magicians and America's Got Talent as a consultant for about 4 years. The Washington football team, I helped develop charity events that would be seen by hundreds of people and spent millions of dollars with them to develop those. Not my own money, their money. Luckily, I was just there to provide ideas and be creative for them. I've also written 2 books, Lights, Camera, Magic, and Scrub a Dub Dub. I talked to a lot of people who say they eventually want to write and publish a book, and I did it twice, and I did them both fairly close together and just kind of on a whim. Your beliefs about creativity have definitely held you back. No matter how creative you feel that you are, it's happened at some point where you've stopped dead in your tracks. So let's talk about that. Not feeling like you're creative has put a major limit on your earning potential. Either feeling like you're not creative or genuinely not knowing how to be creative. Nothing will make you more money in this world than coming up with ideas and taking action on them. Especially ideas that people haven't truly thought of before. Which we'll come back to that idea in a minute because I do believe nothing is original. It's all about how you package it. It's probably stopped your big sexy idea dead in its tracks several times. You have probably stumbled across the idea that would have changed your career and changed your life in your mind at some point. In fact, probably even several times. And you're not moving forward on those because you're not seen as a creative. You don't know how to identify the good ideas. Man, that's so dangerous. So dangerous. But it's okay. Let go of them now. Set them aflame. Shred them. New ideas will come. Don't try to dig up the old ones. It's too late for them. I believe that. Taking too long on ideas is definitely a death sentence. It's held you back from being truly you. And not just a shadow of who you are when you're on stage, on camera, within your business. Man, that sucks. We want to see you or your character, and we want to see it in its rawest form. Not knowing how to be creative set you behind what you could have created years ago. Could have had so many projects take off since then. Just like with your big sexy idea, which so often we only need one idea to propel our career forward. Think about Rob Zabrecki, a magician who really found his angle. His idea to stand out in the market. The big sexy idea is something that comes from Mark Levy, who's a money-making machine and helped so many people around the world develop ideas using his creativity, by using his creativity, I mean. And it's okay, because this is the most common problem entertainers face, is believing that they're not creative. It's the most common problem entertainers face today. Let's download some new beliefs about creativity. No one is original. Even Mark Twain said so. Don't people quote Mark Twain all the time for stuff like this? Mark Twain was one of the greatest writers. He's known all around the world for his works, and he believes nothing he did was ever truly original. So let that hold you back. Every single person is creative. I'm sure there are people watching this that feel that they are genuinely creative, and that's great. There are also a lot of people watching this saying, nah, I do okay. I'm not the most creative person out there. I wouldn't be the kind to be able to write a whole movie. Well, maybe you would. But forget about right brain and left brain. We often hear that left brain, I believe it is, are less creative and right brain people are more creative, but that's not true, because it's more about neural pathways, developing those, and creating more brain plasticity. When I studied psychology, I was so interested in this idea that they teach right brain and left brain, and we learned that it doesn't actually matter when it comes to creativity. Maybe being analytical, sure, but not creativity. Inspiration has probably been misrepresented in your life. It's not likely that you're going to be driving down the road and something's going to strike you like a lightning bolt from the sky into your brain. You're going to go, that's a fully formed idea that I should do. It doesn't happen that way. Creativity is exercised and strengthened. Just like some people are born with more athletic ability, some people may be born with a more baseline level of creativity, but it's nothing that you can't catch up and even go miles ahead of the competition if you just practice it. Fear is a part of it, and you're doing it right. Because if you come up with an idea and you're afraid to put it out there, that's a really good sign. One of the best signs. If we created something that truly means something to us, of course we're not going to put it there. If we wonder if people are going to like it, well, put it out there. You have more of a chance of finding the people who think the way that you do, resonate with it deeply, and changing their lives. Speaking of exercising and strengthening it, not only do we have to exercise and strengthen our ability to create things, but we also exercise and strengthen our ability to put them out there for people to see. You probably can't do it alone. It's great to work with other people in creativity. It lets conversation flow more naturally, allows us to remove a lot of the filters that we create for ourselves and get a completely different perspective on what we're creating. Man, such a huge tip there. All of my best ideas have happened on the phone calls with my buddies, just trying to make each other laugh. Try to ditch traditional brainstorming. If it hasn't worked for you in the past, it's probably not going to work for you moving forward. If that's the type of person you are and you know that it works for you, that's great, but one of the biggest things that I discovered is once I ditched traditional brainstorming methods that they taught me in elementary school and just realized that brainstorming ideas can happen in your head at night. You don't necessarily have to put them down in paper. Writing scripts doesn't have to be a voice recording or a notepad in your phone. It can just be happening in your brain, okay? It's always good to put them down there, but, call your buddy. Run through the ideas there, work them, and then write down the things that come out of that conversation. You're going to find a lot more freedom in that. Incentivizing creativity often doesn't help. Giving yourself like a limit of time to create something might be good to push you over the edge to actually do it, but creating for money, creating something for acceptance, not really going to work. But limiting your options will. I give this example often of writing an essay. If I tell you to write an essay on creativity, but I don't give you a page number, a more specific topic than that, tell you how many sources to cite, what I'm looking to get out of that essay, man, it's going to be a lot harder to sit down and write one out than it would be if I gave you those limits. So if I just say write an essay about creativity, you'd ask me, how long is it? When do you want it by? All this stuff. Putting limits on it will certainly help. And you will become more efficient at creating, but it's never easier. It becomes more fun and enjoyable. You'll be able to do it more quickly, and the ideas that you come up with will usually be better. but running through the back catalog of ideas and inspirations that you have in your mind, those always come and go. And you'll always feel writer's block at some point on a project. Not every project gets writer's block, but at some point in your life moving forward, you'll get writer's block again, okay? So the difficulty in creativity is never permanently removed. It's like going to the gym. Like, you can get stronger and buff and you can get in great shape, but it should still always be hard. This is the fastest skill set that you can monetize. Learning how to come up with creative ideas for clients and their events will help you charge triple what you're charging now. Being able to not only perform gigs, but work as a writer on TV shows will put tens of thousands of dollars in your pocket. Helping other entertainers come up with ideas where they may be stuck and using our creativity to assist them will create connections that will bring us to massive places. It can do big numbers. All right, here's how you can create a freaking masterpiece. Don't worry about the bottom part here. I know it's already visible up on the screen. The quality and genius is subjective. Your art gets ranked after it's released, not just created. Once you've created it and put it out there for the public to see, that's when it can be judged. It'll never be a masterpiece sitting in our notebook. It's only a masterpiece if it gets out there and seen by people. Think about all the famous artists or painters that have written or painted things that nobody saw until after they passed. Were they masterpieces sitting in their garage? No. It was when people saw them and could interpret them in the context that they were living in then that they could see it as a masterpiece. It's not for us to decide if something's a masterpiece. Jam. Have fun. Enjoy the creative process. Don't make it feel like work. We're entertainers. It's supposed to be fun. We're supposed to be making people feel good. So you got to feel good when creating that. Be authentic to yourself and stop filtering. Guys, I have to challenge myself to do this all the time. I want to make sure that I seem responsible, respectable. I want to make sure that I have authority when talking to you guys so that you listen to what I say so that I can help you get out of your own way and show you the path to success that I've seen in so many other entertainers and myself included in that. But I also know that I'm never going to put my best work out there for you guys if I'm not just being myself. The stuff that I put out there that people like the most is always the stuff that I would have never expected people to like because it just seems so raw and it seems so like out there and crazy for me to put it that way. You know, Gary Vee is a great person who talks about this. He doesn't like to filter himself. He thinks if he's his authentic self, he'll be able to resonate with people way more deeply. And that is always true. If when you remove the filter, people get more of the true product. It's like serving processed snacks versus whole healthy snacks. Let's give them the whole healthy snacks that aren't processed and streamlined and made to serve to a mass amount of people. Okay? Your weird ideas are the ones that we want to see. Saying that, oh, there's something there, when you have an idea is probably the closest you'll ever get to discovering that you have a masterpiece. I was talking with one of my good buddies who's an insanely talented writer. All he does is come home each day and write. He loves the process of creating. Some of the things I've read in there, I determine for myself are real masterpieces. Brought me to tears on only reading the first few sentences. And, I mean, he always goes, yeah, there's something there, right? He's never fully aware of how good his ideas are. And then he works on them, fully forms them, develops them, and man, they get so much stronger. So you're not always going to know that the ideas you have are good ideas. And that's why it's important to build that muscle of just putting them out there. Work with the inklings, the little thoughts you get, the little ideas that hit you every single day that you probably don't even notice. It's like flies flying around you. If you get so used to the fruit flies, you don't even notice them anymore. Start paying attention to the fruit flies. Start paying attention to the little ideas in your head that pop up. Every little thing. What does something make you think about? What archetype of people did you see today in the grocery store? Like, The little things that you think about every day, work with those, develop those, turn those into scripts, tricks, videos, show ideas, and then refine them over time, as I mentioned. Start with a skeleton and do it fearlessly. I cannot tell you how many. I probably can. It's 30 or more magicians I've talked to in the last month, not an exaggeration, that have told me they don't want to put their virtual shows out there because it's not good enough yet. But they've been saying that since March of last year. Over a year, they've been saying the same thing, that they're developing the show. They just want it to be good enough. You got to get out there with the skeletons. If you have a new trick idea that you want to put in your show, it'll probably never go in your show if you don't get out there and perform it when you just have kind of a base structure for it. You just kind of have the beginning and the end, and you can fill in the middle when you get out there and do it. The audience will help you put skin, flesh, and muscle on it. You'll be able to go in there and add the eyelashes when you observe. When you see what the audience likes, you can etch out those details. You can change the shape of the muscle structure. Change the color of the eyes on this idea. But you got to put that skeleton out there first, okay? Once you create that masterpiece, kill your babies. Once you've decided that you're going to work with the little ideas, the inklings, and start taking action on them instead of just letting them sit and not doing anything with them, and you've created something that everyone loves, or not everybody, but the people you care about love, gets a great response, kill it. Move on. Your best work is still ahead of you. The next big idea you have probably is not going to be your best idea. We hold on to things in our shows, on our social media, because we say, oh my gosh, this has been working for me so well. But there's probably something out there that will work for you even better. I hope that this made you feel better and know that even somebody like me who's worked on tons and tons of TV shows, developed scripts and materials for some of the top magicians in the world, you know, I'm just out here having fun, jamming ideas and putting skeletons out there, working with the inklings. You know, I was thinking about Bill Nye the Science Guy and how I used to feel watching that in class. And I thought about how I would come home and watch Samurai Jack on TV. And what if Bill Nye the Science Guy and Samurai Jack did a crossover episode? I'm not sure what I can do with that little inkling of an idea, but there's one, and I'll develop it into something. And if it doesn't receive the love, that's okay. I created it for me. But some people may see that as a masterpiece, and who knows what's going to happen with that. It doesn't hurt me anything to try, and if I truly love this and I really love creating, what does it matter for me to spend some time working on that? It'd be fun for me. Better believe I'm going to work on that with one of my friends and not alone, and ditch those traditional brainstorming ideas and techniques. Cool, guys. I don't want to beat this one into the ground. This is my 11th take of this because I have spent so long talking about these topics. I wanted to refine it. Here it is. I think that this was like 32 slides when I first made it, and I deleted half of it and then turned the rest of it into like 4 slides. So cool, man. I'm so excited to get this one done and feel like I did it and articulated it well. Let me know what other questions you have about this. I'm sure that you guys aren't going to struggle with this as much as I have in my life. I tend to, I tend to hold myself back from where I want to be from time to time, but I've learned recently how to break through that, and it's done a lot for me. So hope it does the same for you. Cool, guys. I'll stop rambling now. I'll see you in Module 1.